That's right, guys. That's right. We are back. Hold on a second here. Let me get Ulric. Let me get Humble. That's right. Pleb Underground monthly live episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Get ready. Get ready, guys. So, big month, huh? I feel like so much has happened.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like there's been. I remember when we first started tracking all the possible news stories. It was probably 3 days, 4 days after our last episode, and we probably had enough for a full episode. I don't know how we're going to get all the stuff we captured into this episode, but we're going to try. We're going to try.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But of course, before we do, got to show some love. Got to show some love to the Pleb Underground sponsors. So be right back. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. They make absolutely beautiful Bitcoin branded products. They just dropped their first one. It is the solid aluminum Bitcoin clock. I had to get my hands on it so that I could show it to you guys. Take a look. Really, really nice piece. Beautiful craftsmanship. Head on over to archamp.co. The link is going to be in the show notes. That is Archimedes Emporium. Head on over there. I don't have an actual ad read for this or anything. It just says T. Selly says, fuck you, Greg. That's right, guys. That's right, guys. Fuck you, Greg, indeed. Okay. So we've got a lot of hot topics here. We're going to talk about the Maya Parbhoe mystery thing that's going on. Interestingly enough, she follows Pleb Underground, and we follow her. Reached out to her, did not get any response. Somebody yesterday by the name of, I think, Mayan Hodl or something like that, or Mayan Bitcoin. I don't know which account that is. I'm sorry. But they reached out and they said, hey, I have some information about this situation that might be helpful, that can clear things up. Reached back out to them. Did not hear back from them yet. So we're just kind of, we're going to be going along with, right now our opinions of the whole situation. But besides that, we've got a couple of other things to talk about here. We're definitely going to talk about the whole Mahler's MSTR thing. We are going to talk about also some. Ulric brought this up, some privacy concerns, right? Because it seems that as Bitcoin gets way more popular, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the privacy, right? Nobody cares about what's going on with Samurai. Like it's all good, man. It's all good because the numbers going up, the institutions are here, and we're all just pigs and shit. Okay. Anyways, I guess there you go. That's my whole intro to my intro. So let's dive into the Maya Parbhoe stuff. So who actually wants to explain the story? I have gone through it. It depends on when you start with it, right? You can start back at the the story essentially about her father being assassinated, or you can fast forward to and just for the people to know, she is the person who is going for president of Suriname. And essentially, like, I think it was like 2 months ago or something, we saw this cryptic tweet that came out that was like, that said help, something like that. Was that like 2 months ago?
It couldn't have been 2 months ago because we would have talked about it last month. I think it happened probably 3 weeks ago, and it was shocking. And I think that's the best part to start, in my opinion. What the hell? I think that's kind of when you have this cryptic tweet saying, the Secret Service is coming to protect me, and then all of a sudden, I'm not safe. Help! My family is in danger. You have all these Bitcoiners tweeting and showing all kinds of love, care, and concern, and people were leveraging that engagement opportunity as well. When you retweet something that's breaking and stunning and viral, people always look to be at the forefront of that as well. So I noticed a little bit of that, and at the end of the day, then you have hey, I'm sorry, my bad, I was having a baby. I'm like, oh, okay, so the deep state is coming to get you, but instead you're just birthing your child. And oh, by the way, vote for me. In my opinion, I see that as a potential red flag for someone who's running for office. When we talk about the stresses of running a nation, maybe it's I'm no woman, so says science, I guess. But when you think about the stresses that a mother, birthing a child, I respect it, but there are also stresses of making decisions that impact a nation. And I'm trying to figure out, gosh, if you're going to make insane tweets while you're birthing a child, I know a lot of mothers, and I haven't seen any of them say the FBI or the CIA or Klaus Schwab is coming to get them. And so this kind of makes me concerned about, oh, here's another politician, a Bitcoin politician, who's put themselves in a place of prominence or a place of popularity. Bitcoin influencers, leverage that to say, hey, we align with this politician, like they've been doing for at least 5 years, and then it all turns into nothing. Oh, by the way, people congratulate her. She's so stunning and brave for essentially gaslighting people to think that she was under attack by the deep state. Bitcoiners are more excited than concerned about the idea that someone is coming to get you because, oh, look, it's a Bitcoin politician. They're coming to take away this Bitcoin politician. By the way, just like RFK, just like President Trump, when you go to their websites, when you go to other parts of their political campaign, they don't mention Bitcoin. And I don't think that she mentions Bitcoin. Another one, she doesn't mention Bitcoin to anyone but Bitcoiners. So I think you guys know my argument. I think she is another potential scammer. I think that she may be a nice person in private. And I think a lot of people may think that she's friendly and even very intelligent. But I know a lot of intelligent people that you guys would consider, and smart and friendly, and people that I used to work with at Swan Bitcoin, and you guys would say, screw that person too. So it's like we all have weird incentives, and we all have our nice side and our dark side. Long-winded answer to say, that's some bullshit, but I expect nothing less from a politician.
Yeah, I can definitely, I mean, look, like we've discussed this before, so I can totally appreciate that take. I do think, though, I can't help but wonder, though, that there isn't something kind of deeper going on, because look, let's be honest, right? The idea that politicians pander to a specific group in order to garner their support, like, that's just par for the course. That's what politicians do. I mean, this is, it's not news to anybody, but the fact that this is kind of being framed this way for her specifically, it's kind of, so what? So like every other politician, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had politicians on the show and they don't know anything about Bitcoin at all. Like she, at the very least, right, without knowing the full truth of the situation, at the very least seems a little bit more passionate and has been around the scene, to my knowledge, a little bit longer. From what I understood, like I know that we're hearing about her now, but to my knowledge, she has actually been a hodler for a little while. So I think that that's a little bit different. And I noticed that there's this kind of strange spat going on between her and Jack Cruz, right? And I don't know him. I don't know of him. I've never spoken to him or anything like that. I see his tweets and stuff like that. But I noticed that she seems to believe that he's kind of a fraud. And he also believes that she is. So I don't know what happened there. I feel like there's more drama than we're being told. And then Frank, right? Frank Corva is going to write an article for Bitcoin Magazine exposing exposing her and exposing her campaign. I don't know.
It's crazy. It's like a soap opera. There's so much going on. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
It does sound okay. Good. Yeah. Sorry for the delay, guys.
He's awesome.
By the way, Inspiring Formulas, chime in when you get a chance, but you told me that my mic was half a fill, so let me know how I sound now. These guys haven't told me anything wrong, so I imagine it may be different to you, but I turned it up just a little bit just in case.
At Pleb Underground, the audience is technical support, right? This is how we work. This is how the magic works. So it's great.
But it's funny because Frank Corva is going to write a piece for Bitcoin Magazine. It's funny because Bitcoin Magazine is the chief Schiller and chief, platform for the politicians. That's where they go to get their votes from the Bitcoin interest group. And so it's funny to see, this person that's going to expose her on a platform that would also propagate her. I know they also are, essentially an open forum for whoever wants to speak. But, I just feel like I've become desensitized to, even if someone's been in the space forever, the guy from, Vermont or something. I forget what his name is. He has a beard and he's like super libertarian.
Patrick the motorist. Is it?
No, actual politician. Like he's been.
Oh, okay.
I forget what Motors is just he's just
Yeah,
a
he's
gambler.
Oh,
No, shout out
sorry.
Pat. Yeah, but like this guy, but he created he's been in politics for a long time, and he's quick to say how it's okay to shitcoin essentially. And I understand that being in Bitcoin a long time doesn't necessarily make them good for Bitcoin going forward. The narrative, the voices that they would propagate, the stories that they would tell, those types of things are a hindrance to adoption from my perspective. And again, if you want to see my adoption path is simple, that regular people should be using Bitcoin in all forms, medium of exchange, store of value, unit of account. We should be working towards a world where people are getting paid in Bitcoin. Why? Because they have the understanding and recognize that fiat is a melting ice cube, and that the only money that you should want to earn is money that is hard and cannot be printed away, and that all the people who think that they want to who are getting raises and are happy, they understand that they're getting negative real returns against the amount of money that is printed under the M2. That people understand the difference between self-custody and Bitcoin banks or fiat banks. This is how you go to Bitcoin adoption. Anything else, any grab bag of that, any oh, we'll take this out but put this in, that's going to elongate our path to where we actually live in a society of hard money again. So that's how I see things. That's how I've learned based on listening to people like Phil, listening to people that have come before me, for multiple cycles. And I just feel like we've been not confiscated, but I feel like the political narrative has caused a lot of us to miss the plot, including the old school Bitcoiners.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm just thinking about the story here with Maya, because another piece to this is that he was deplatformed from Geyser Fund. About Maya.
Okay.
Yeah, she was deplatformed from Geyser Fund, right? She had like 4 different campaigns going, and they stopped them all. And I tagged them, and they said that they would be doing some type of official statement, and they said, they would let people know what's going on, but nothing ever came of that either, right? So again, it's getting it's getting a little bit strange what's going on there. Like, why aren't we hearing anything back?
Yeah, it's very strange. The whole situation is very strange. I mean, I think the birthing thing that you had mentioned, Ulric, like that just seems super strange. Like, of all the things that you would say, like, why would that be the thing that you would say? It doesn't make any sense. And I don't know, like, to me, there are these like triggers that I see, like all the keywords that are in these things. Like, she's, I think, candidate number 21 in Suriname, right? And like these different things where it's like I don't know, saying all the right things, and then that's just concerning. It's like you're saying all the right things, like that. It's like textbook. It's like somebody who could just take a look at everything and be like, what would I need to say to get the Bitcoiners on my side to start funding my campaign? And it's like those talking points are all there. and it's I don't know. I mean, to me, I always have my radar up. I mean, you guys know me, so it's something that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, but we don't know. You know, it's very suspicious. But we also know how governments operate, and if there's opposition, and there is, right, that they can be quite powerful in their circle of influence. So I guess it's something to keep an eye on still. Like to believe that there's nothing shady going on, but I can't say that I feel like I can rule that out yet.
What's very strange is that there was a group of Bitcoiners that went to Suriname, right? And then apparently after that happened, this is when I guess the kind of the negative news started to come out, or at least that's the way it came out, to me.
Like one of the stories, yeah.
Yeah,
like they were talking about, I went there and I was going to meet up with her, but then I didn't meet up with her. I met up with her assistant, and then I still couldn't meet up with her. And then other people in the area weren't really, they really didn't even know what was going on with her, and if she was really all about Bitcoin. And it was, it's interesting.
See, look, there's this lady over here, Chantal Dillon, and I have no idea who this is, right? Like, these are just tweets that I'm seeing, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So here, so she's saying, so her and Jack Cruz were present, for over a week in Suriname, where Maya admitted she was not running a campaign on Bitcoin. She was very disorganized, unprofessional, missing many appointments herself. Because again, right, this is all in retaliation to Jack showing up. Dr. Jack Cruz showing up and being late. Also, supposedly, he called Suriname a shithole. So this is, it's kind of this strange spat. But I do want to go back to the point, though, about politicians and stuff like that. Like, again, this whole accusation that, like, she's not a Bitcoin politician or whatever it is, that's a fucking nonsense point, right? That's like, so what? Like, right now, we have politicians up there. Are they USD politicians? Like, I don't know. It's like, what are we doing? This doesn't make any sense, So, like, we just need to be honest with ourselves, right? Like, because the truth is that we give certain people a pass, okay, for touting Bitcoin and liking Bitcoin, and other people, for whatever reason, they don't get a pass, right? They get, my famous word, they get othered, right? And is Maya being othered, right? Is that what's happening?
And also another question is, do we really need to rehearse this formula of, looking for the next Bitcoin president or Bitcoin politician, that if people want to adopt Bitcoin or use it in a form that's that's helpful for them or their constituents or their neighborhood, then we should say good and keep pushing. But the problem is that we have this extreme affinity for politicians, and we live like we want to be ruled. And I'll never forget this, my story going back to my Swan days. My best video with Swan was when I talked about Elizabeth Warren and how she didn't care about Bitcoin. And it got a whole bunch of views, and it's on Christmas Day when everyone should be celebrating with their family. They were watching my video, more so than the ones on a random Tuesday that came out. And it's like, all this about Elizabeth Warren, but no one wants to learn about, no one wants to hear about, how Bitcoin is, some other, topic that I could think about. I forget, because it was so long ago. But the catch is, like, the politician narrative has this viral aspect about it. There's something strange. There's something gravitating about our rulers, and we want to know what they're doing. And I just feel like Bitcoin has a certain thing to say, hey, with the use cases involved with Bitcoin, it's like we can kind of put aside that political structure, that political infrastructure that we had to use in the past because we needed intermediaries. Bitcoin brings us more into a sovereign lifestyle where it's like, yeah, we really don't need that bank. We really don't need that treasury department. We're good. Technology and Bitcoin, that enables us to not need government intermediaries. So why aren't we moving like that with our minds, with our attention? That's the part. So that, for me, it's like, oh, great, another Bitcoin politician, whether they are or not. How about we just continue to build? with or without them?
I think it's this desire to be accepted or validation. Like, it's weird, right? You don't necessarily want JP Morgan holding a whole bunch of Bitcoin, right? Like, you just don't want that. But at the same time, it validates your position that you were right. And this is kind of an ego-driven thing, right? So this is kind of on an individual basis where, you know, these people that and these institutions that showed up afterwards, right? They're validating you. Like, you see, we're right. And how are we right? Well, we can point to these, you know, we can point to all of these people and say, well, look, you know, they all ended up learning about it after, and essentially their support, right, becomes validation for your behavior. So it's kind of a, I don't know if it's like a positive feedback loop, but it's definitely a feedback loop.
So essentially, we can go back to our normie friends and be like, see, I was right, because they're going to acknowledge that it was right only because a politician was like, heck yeah, I'm all about this, you know? And then, yeah, I know. No, I'm totally on the same page as you. I think that has so much to do with it. I feel like there's going to be a certain period of time, though, that's going to go, I mean, there shouldn't be that excitement still, you know? I feel like we kind of had that, you know, when we were, okay, El Salvador, that was very exciting. And then we moved on, and there were more and more politicians that were like, oh, this is really cool. Maybe there is something to this. Maybe we should look into it. But like, why are we still here? Why are we still like, oh my gosh, like this politician is all about it? And Suriname, like, I don't know. I don't want to sound like a,
Who cares?
You know,
right.
yeah, I know. Like,
go ahead and
say
it. Yeah.
Like, how did that become front and center? And now
Suriname, honestly, El Salvador, when you think about it, who cares? And they've been, obviously, they're profitable and they're doing better than they were 5-10 years ago. But like, if you want to justify your friends, hey, look at the price. Oh, look, it's going up. The free market should solve all that concern. It's like, you can't, like, all they do, money talks. And when Bitcoin is the epitome of the free market, and that's how we should justify ourselves. And even if it went down, guess what? Bitcoin is still working. Look at the hash rate. It's working. It's not dying. My Bitcoin isn't lost in the blockchain somewhere. Oh wow, guess what? Must be working. Good luck with your bank. Oh wow, your bank freezing you over the weekend. You know, it's like, oh wow, your bank, you know, encroaching on you. That's the kind. That's the kind of stuff. That's the justification. The justification should be without, you know, a highly regarded individual, and that's where individual sovereignism comes in. But we're missing the plot.
Yeah, well, and we're being distracted. Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand why we're supposed to be like, why are we paying attention to this? And it's like this perfect scenario of a woman who is, you know, trying to like make this country better, and there's so much corruption. It's such a poor country, and you know, let's pay attention to her, and she's all about Bitcoin, and let's give her all the money in the world because Bitcoiners are, you know, we're very generous, and we love to help good causes. We love to help people that are all about Bitcoin. That's not going to last too much longer, because there's a lot of people out there that are all about Bitcoin. And it's like, oh, because you're speaking up, yeah, you're one of many at this point in time, right? So let's try to figure out I mean, if you want to figure out the legitimacy of her, go ahead. But like, I don't want to waste my time on it. I think it's such a distraction, and it's so freaking weird. It's so strange.
Humble, you hit on something that that's been tugging on me. After like a whole cycle, and especially the exponential growth or the mini multiple growth of, you know, the last four years, what I've noticed is that there's a whole economy around not just Bitcoin, forget the Bitcoin economy, a sub economy of essentially this, how would you call it? Donation, or like not nonprofit, but like kind of like donation economy, where people are almost like a philanthropy economy. That's right. And it's like, but they're targeting the Bitcoin population because they know that there's someone out there with 500 Bitcoin that they don't know what the hell to do. And it's almost like, you know, when you win the lottery, what do you get? You know, of course you have to publish your address, and then all of a sudden people come knocking. Hey, would you donate to this? Would you donate to that? Would you donate to this? And what you see is, yeah. Thank you, Moon Guy. I had to stop my monologue. That was great.
Sorry.
But it's like, but guess what? For that, yeah, for every one of him, even if there are 100 of him, if the philanthropy economy, and mind you, they're not the ones donating. They're the ones that are looking to consolidate the donations and shuffle them to someone. And then, by the way, like I can get all these Bitcoiners to donate to you, and I'll just take 1% or 5% or 10%, because guess what? It would be better than nothing, and I could be the middleman for that. I feel like there's a lot of people popping up, and they're saying, I know there's a bunch of people with 1,000 Bitcoin out there that are floating, watching Twitter. And if I can just get the word out saying, hey, I'm donating to this, you can essentially grift off of people's generosity. And so it's like, again, this Bitcoin world, there's many ways to grift. There are exchanges, but guess what? The philanthropist or the philanthropy middleman, it's just as bad.
It is. I mean,
watch yourself.
Yeah, like people are afraid of a wrench attack. I think they need to be more afraid of the fact that people have identified Bitcoiners as generous, heartfelt individuals, and that you should be more afraid of that, of these middlemen that are coming in and trying to take advantage of the community.
I think it's amazing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Humble.
No, I mean, no. It's because I was just going to say, and it is a community, so we could fight about that. But go ahead.
There's different communities.
Yeah.
No, but I think you bring up a great point. I think you bring up a great point about the wrench attacks, right? And this is something that I forget, where I was having this conversation, but that is exactly the way that it was framed to me, right? Is that, look, like wrench attacks, for the most part, depending on where you live, are just a little too risky, and it's just a lot of work for quite possibly very little Bitcoin. But if you come up with a really good idea, like if you think about it, ICOs were like the first wrench attack, because essentially they put out these white papers, they showed you these development teams, they made you imagine what the possibilities were. And then you, without any kind of prodding, you handed them your Bitcoin. So it's like, what did they have to attack you with? So to your point, right? Like these grifts, like this type of thing, there are genuine people that want to do genuine things. There's always this kind of happy medium, right? Between, look, you need to eat, roof over your head, but at the same time, you also want to be passionate and love what you do and actually be helping people, right? Like human beings aren't all just like one-sided, right? There is like an aspect of altruism, even if it is based in some selfish desire or an ego or whatever it is. Like we're not going to get into that, but the point is that like these types of people do exist, right? And our job is to figure out who's actually being genuine and who isn't. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with multiple parties that are neither of them seem to be incentivized for the truth, but both of them seem to be incentivized for their own gain, you really start to wonder, like, is all of this just made up? And actually, this goes back. I just want to finish by saying this, right? A lot of the politicians that I met had no business, right? They didn't care about Bitcoin. A lot of these people that I spoke to, like, it had nothing to do with that. They just simply knew that they can garner an audience. They didn't even care about getting your Bitcoin. They didn't even care about getting your donation. They just wanted your audience. They just needed your eyeballs. That's it. That's how cheap this is. Okay.
I will say that what's their names? The brothers. One's a wrestler, one's a boxer. The Paul brothers. They're coming out with a reality show, American something.
Yeah.
And the big quote on the trailer is, "Attention is the great currency." It's not. It's like being liked isn't the currency. Attention is the currency. And so what you just hit it. They don't care. They even go. Rika Holmes from 22 just wanted Bitcoin as donations. But another level is like, we just want eyeballs, and having that attention because you mentioned Bitcoin, it goes viral, and it's we have to guard our wallets and guard our hearts
and our attention.
Yep.
Right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're paying attention. Like, what does that mean? Like, there is some meaning behind it, right? Like that paying that you're doing, right? That you're getting filled up with possibly terrible information. You don't know. Anyways, speaking of terrible information, we're gonna. I think we thoroughly exhausted this topic, guys. We're not trying to be judges or jury of what's going on with that thing. We just wanted to discuss it because it's a strange situation that all of a sudden popped up that has a whole bunch of mystery behind it. I'm talking about the Maya Parbhoe thing. So, we just wanted to actually have the discussion, right? So we're going to all find out whether, what this is all about. And I'm interested to see what Frank Corvo's article from Bitcoin Magazine is going to uncover and is all about. Anyways, all right. Moving on. Okay, do we want to talk about? Do we want to get into the equities creep into Bitcoin, or do we want to talk about the privacy concerns?
I think both. We probably talk about both, but probably the equities one first.
Okay, so this was an interesting topic that you brought up, Ulric, and it is that Adobe on April 22nd, okay, I know, guys, it's not Bitcoin, but hear us out, okay? The language is changing and things are getting weird. Stockholders approved an increase of share reserve by 7 million shares. So I think that's super interesting because that's a change in their language. Usually they would just talk about it as a stock buyback. Like there was never this illusion that there is this great share reserve and we're keeping it. So it's just kind of weird that buybacks have now become share reserves. What are your guys' thoughts on this? I don't know, Humble, if you want to go first, or Ulrich, but I just think it's weird. I appreciate that they're trying to imitate, but I think it's weird.
Yeah, I can't speak too intelligently about this, so you go ahead, Ulrich.
The only thing I can say is, like, I did bring up this one, not necessarily about what Adobe chooses to do with their company. What I did choose, because I think it's an indicator that we have to remember that, equities are fiat. They're a construct of fiat where the owners of the owners or rule makers of every equity has the ability to dilute your shares for the sake of whatever they think is the benefit of the corporation. And the corporation is dictated by the people who own the majority of the shares. And how they say it, whether it's stock buyback or share reserves, they're going to always, use new language to indicate what they're going to do. But I will say this, is that Adobe, and based on Phil's understanding or Phil and me communicating, Adobe was one of those companies during the internet boom, during the .com boom, that lasted, that made it, and has continued to provide value. I'm now using Adobe to make my videos. It's perpetuate. It's here and it's not going away anytime soon. They've adopted AI at the right pace and they're incorporating it. They create value. Now, they diluted their shares, but at the same time, MicroStrategy, again, dilutes their shares. Even just today, they bought 1,500 Bitcoin for like $1 billion. And they aren't creating anything. In fact, they are losing money with their one true product that they're supposed to give to create value with. They're losing millions of dollars every quarter. Their only hope is that Bitcoin perpetually goes up. Their only hope is that Bitcoin month over month, because those are the type of people that buy MicroStrategy, they're looking for quick gains on volatility, that the month over month maintains upward action. And because when downward action happens, it goes down. And when downward action is expected, MicroStrategy will die. It doesn't matter how many Bitcoin they have. And so they have now 550,000 Bitcoin. I don't care how many people say that this time it's different. I don't care how many times people say that he has a playbook and it's going to work. The people that own MicroStrategy will sell because they aren't convicted that it's the answer to the world's problems like Bitcoiners are. That Bitcoin has a floor value and it goes up every year thanks to you guys, the hodlers. MicroStrategy, while it may have some Bitcoiners, including me, I have MicroStrategy. Hello. And guess what? Me as a hodler of Bitcoin through the worst of times, I'm selling that MicroStrategy the minute I think that the top is in. Whatever, and if I'm wrong, it was my top. Whatever my top is, I'm selling it. You can't say the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoiners, all you guys watching, you guys are holding through the bottom. MicroStrategy, when those traders, when all the suits, when all the finance bros say, oh yeah, you know, it looks like it was fun while it lasted, they're gone. And it's like, hey, what about the movement? There is no movement with MicroStrategy. And that's what we have to remember, that it's not solving any problems. It's only creating problems. And that's for the shareholders. That's for everyone around it. So if all they did was just create value, like Adobe, if they used all that Bitcoin, bought out a company, started selling whatever, products, t-shirts, food, whatever, and then with their proceeds buy Bitcoin, it would be different. But this financial engineering is crap, and we're going to see how crappy it is in 2026. I'm done.
Mic drop. I mean, look, I really don't have much to add to that, but I can say this, right? The .com bubble was not a movement, right? Like when all those companies went bust, right? It wasn't like a whole bunch of hodlers went in to like, shore them up or anything like that. There was none of this. All the companies that had to go bust that weren't providing value disappeared. The ones that had that had proper cash flow, that did manage their money properly, they got to survive. And if they had a product, right, that was actually providing value, like Adobe, well, they came back to reward their shareholders, right? People who actually stuck it out, they got rewarded. All that to say, I can't disagree with the whole idea that these especially the finance bros, they're going to be gone, right? Like this is we came to Bitcoin for the qualities of Bitcoin. Okay, the people that are buying MicroStrategy, they may pretend that they're here for Bitcoin, but and that's fine, right? Like it's okay. Like it's okay to sit there and be like, hey, I want to make money, but at the same time, I also want to help create a better future. Guess what, right? We're humans, right? Like I said before, right? Everybody needs to eat, roof over their head, all that stuff. We can't ignore that. But the reality is that these finance bros, like there is no movement, there is no sovereign money or anything like that, because at the end of the day, that's not their reality. Okay, like it really isn't. So unless MicroStrategy can genuinely, that's what I said 1,000 times before. And it's funny because you know what I noticed? I noticed we've been saying this for a really long time, but now there's bigger accounts that are starting to be like, geez, wonder if they don't make enough money, how are they going to stay in business and hang on all that Bitcoin? It's like, oh yeah, see, now that like some stupid pleb isn't saying it, right? Some other guy that like that you want to touch his knob, it's like, oh wow, he's so smart. Why didn't I think of that?
The ones that isn't funny, the ones that we respect. The crazy part is that as like, oh look, the politician RFK comes in. Look, I'm legitimate because I have Bitcoin, and RFK said Bitcoin. But once these traditional, these well-respected finance people start coming, MicroStrategy, 86th in the market cap and all the companies in the NASDAQ or the Dow, or the S&P, I'm sorry. Once they get to like top 50, because I think they're going to go up. Once they get to top 50, even top 25, whatever, and they maybe tap the top 25, all the narratives from the well-respected people, it's like, the cash flows. What they're going to start. What's the bottom line? Where's the revenue? Because they're claiming accounting tricks. They're claiming the asset on the balance sheet is income, and we know that's not true. They've been begging for that accounting trick to be adopted for 2 years. That was a part of the playbook. Once that was adopted, once that was acceptable, then they can say, oh, look, we can claim this as income. It's not income. They can call it income, but it's not. We know it's not. It's an asset on the balance sheet. It's a corporate asset, and none of the shareholders have claim to it. That's the cold part about it. Like, what do you have claim to? How many MicroStrategy, dude? You have I have 100 MicroStrategy shares. I have 1,000 MicroStrategy shares. How much Bitcoin do I have? 0. We have to remember that. And it's like we won't think about that until we are in the depths of the cold Bitcoin or crypto winter. And I can't wait to see the narratives then.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? This kind of, it's interesting because this Adobe conversation kind of leaks into kind of our rapid fire conversation, which has to do with, so we may as well just talk about it here. Because we still have a whole bunch of other topics anyways. But yeah, so that brings up Jack Mallers, right? Because look, companies are going to adopt this quote unquote strategy. And of course, there will be winners. There will absolutely be companies that currently provide valuable services and that do have positive free cash flow and do have a melting iceberg of cash that they don't need to spend. And those are the companies that are going to be able to, whether we want them to or not, right? I don't want Bitcoin to end up in corporate treasuries, but hey, Bitcoin's for enemies and it's for everybody and there's nothing I can do about it. But so if that's going to happen, then it may as well end up sitting in some corporate treasury that doesn't have to move it and they can actually hodl it. Whereas, right, like we've had this discussion before, MicroStrategy, he may have 550,000 Bitcoin, but unfortunately I don't think he actually has the staying power to hang on to it. I don't think his financial vehicle is stable enough to hang on to it. So now we enter companies like 21, which it's interesting, right? Supposedly Jack was saying that he's going to be running 21, but when you go take a look at all their filings, it's Howard Lutnick's son. Anyways, it's all not a psyop though. Okay, so Jack started 21, right? We know who the backers are: SoftBank and Tether, and what's it called? Lutnick's company, right? I forget what they're called.
21 Capital.
No, there's a name to the. Oh my God, it's ticker CEP.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'll pull it up while you're talking.
Yeah, sorry. Anyways, okay, so all of these backers came together, right? And Jack Mallers currently does run Strike. Okay. Now, what's it called?
Is it Cantor Fitzgerald?
Cantor Fitzgerald. Thank you. Okay.
Equity Partners or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And they own, I think right now, like 6 million shares or something like that. I went to go check this all out earlier. Okay. So you've got Jack now, right? He has Strike. Strike actually has positive cash flow. Strike is a company that provides a valuable service and they're an exchange. Okay. So they have money coming in from their product and it's not costing him more money to run the business. It actually doesn't, it costs him a fraction of the money that they bring in. I forget what his, profit per employee was or whatever that number was. But my point is this, right? So Jack may be coming in with only 43,000 Bitcoin. Okay. But if you ask me, I'm pretty sure Cantor Fitzgerald can withstand a storm more than MicroStrategy can, regardless of how much Bitcoin they have.
Well, and Jack is coming in, I mean, potentially with more than that as well. I mean, they're going to be offering loans, right? They just launched their Bitcoin-backed loans. So.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, like Inspiring Formulas just said, right? Even though we're supposed to pretend like none of this stuff matters, but yeah, it does, right? So Jack comes from a wealthy family, right? So his grandfather, if I'm not mistaken, like what was he? He was like on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, or he's the one that started it, something like that. So I mean, look, let's face it, right? There's a whole bunch of hookups there, right? Whether we want to accept it or not, and I would suggest that Jack's hookups are slightly of better quality than Michael Saylor's. And in all honesty, it's kind of like, if you really look at the situation, you've got this kind of like little powerhouse that they're building up that, they most likely aren't going to let fail. And then you have this like freaking weak lifeboat holding all of this Bitcoin. And it's all being held together because people are buying the shares, not because people are buying any of their products or services. That's a big difference, right? Like even in real estate investment, like even when you're buying REITs, they actually have money coming in from the real estate that they're renting out and or land that they're selling or real estate that they're selling. Like there's no income from his Bitcoin. There never has been. This has been the problem. right? Like for so many people trying to monetize on Bitcoin to create yield, but there isn't any because you actually have to provide value and a service. Anyways. So yeah, I think companies like Jack, right? Like 21 showing up. I know that people are like, yeah, that's what we wanted. This is good for Bitcoin and everything. Yeah, it's great for Bitcoin. But guys like MicroStrategy, I think
It's not good for them.
No, it's not good for them because the last thing they want are better quality companies able to hold Bitcoin. That's just my take on it.
And that's
with passion. I mean, I think Jack has just a tremendous amount of authentic passion behind him. So, I mean, that's my view. And I think that's dangerous to mess with.
Yeah, and let's not displace that. Michael definitely has a lot of passion. You have to have passion to go this far, to go buy 500 Bitcoin. If you're not convicted that this sucker is going to do you a service, then you just may be, batshit crazy. So he has conviction too. The problem is that, there may be a lot of ego involved with his decision making. And again, I'm not going to claim I'm smarter than him. I'm not going to claim that I know more than him with my silly little MBA, or with my ability to read some tweets, in between my work schedule. But I will say that, we've seen companies, we've seen exchanges, we've seen Bitcoin establishments, crypto establishments come very, very hard and fall harder than we ever thought they could before. I mean, when you think about companies like Celsius, Mt. Gox, when you think about the Canadian exchanges, when you think about, people running off with $1 billion in crypto, never being heard from again, in Africa, in the Middle East, we gotta start thinking like, dude, like, when are we gonna learn that the only safe haven is to wherever you want to buy it. You want to buy it on Bitmart. You want to buy your coins on Bitmart. You want to buy your coins on some random ass crypto exchange. You want to buy it on PancakeSwap. Get your coins off that exchange immediately. Like, that's as soon as you have enough for a UTXO, for a decent UTXO, get your Bitcoin off so you can protect yourself from all these people that are putting the cart before the horse. And in my opinion, Michael Saylor saying we're going to buy first and get money second. That's just fiat, man. That's fiat from at its core. We're not going to say, hey, like, let's make a product that's valuable. No, we're just going to spend money and figure out how to survive it later. We ain't learned.
You know what? To your point, right? He's sending a message to the market, and the message to the market is, the most value that I can bring is just simply buying Bitcoin. And I'm sorry, but like, if you're claiming to be a business, a software business company, good luck with that, right? That's like, there's tons of people eating your lunch. We were talking about this earlier today in a space, like, this guy had all the time in the world to be creating tools for Bitcoin. Like, I think it was TC that was saying this, right? Like, where's the MicroStrategy wallet? Right? Where's like the MicroStrategy exchange? Where's the MicroStrategy anything? Where's the MicroStrategy Bitcoin clients? Like, nothing. There's nothing. All there is this guy buying Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, like, in all fairness, it could be argued that he already lost that battle. I mean, if you take a look at his company, like, he even said himself, he was going to walk away. He was just kind of letting this thing die slowly, until he just rode off into the sunset. So
it's still dying.
It's still dying. It's still the only difference is that he figured out a way to kind of, pump some new life into it. Now, of course, if you want to do the tinfoil hat take and say that he's a spook and all that stuff, which I can't disagree with either, but and I don't really know the truth of it, but regardless of, right? He's a fantastic vehicle for the government to all of a sudden swoop in and, make sure to alleviate the risk in the market that Bitcoin has caused in 2026 or 2027 at some point. Who knows?
What's the common denominator there? Coinbase. How about that? What's going on with that?
They'll be fine.
They're just there,
I mean,
no big
do
deal.
we even know what Bitcoin he has? Like, really, again?
But it's gone further than that. Like, have you seen, like, somebody had posted, like, I did research on this and I don't even know, like, who his parents are and where did this guy even come from? Like, there's no history on this guy. Like, this is not his real name. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because you don't know. You don't know. I mean, I don't know. I didn't take the time to be like, oh, well, let me try to see if I can find out who this guy is and where he's come from and all that, because I don't care enough right now. It's
No.
like I'm not entangled with any of that, so it doesn't affect me. But certainly some people want to get to the bottom of it, so they want to figure it all out. And it's funny because you hear all these different stories, like he has kids, he doesn't have kids, he's never been married, like, and he's said that, and people are so funny, like, it's weird. Anyways,
Hold
so
on.
where did he come from?
Phil, post this. That's so funny that you brought this up. While Humble, continue your story, but Phil, post this this tweet in try to share it on screen because I want to get the audience's opinion. I just sent it to you in the private chats. Yes.
Okay, I know what this is. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Humble, but you brought up a great point. I want to get your perspective on this. Let's just go to this tweet if Phil can open it
right now.
Oh, this is going to be
yes.
Everyone who's watching,
Yes.
I want you guys to pay attention to this, and I want to get some feedback. I want to get some real on the spot questions. Where is it popping up?
It is popping up.
Okay, so I want to read out loud. So this is in reply to someone talking about MicroStrategy, and this guy named Greg P. You guys may know him. Yeah, time chain index.
I'm sorry. I'm hosing it all.
Yeah, talking about basically coins on the exchange. People that own, like, how much does Coinbase own? How much does this exchange hold? And they're counting all these coins and how these different chain analyses tools are telling different stories. So this guy says, Sandy, awesome work as always. I can't wrap my head around this one thing though. If me and you and a million others own the one full Bitcoin on Coinbase, and Coinbase has 1 million Bitcoin, they say, how do we know that the other million people don't own those same coins? So yes, Coinbase has 1 million coins, but I didn't remember having a UTXO on the exchange. You don't see your UTXOs. That's right. It's just a number on the screen, which is not proof of anything. Now this person replied like they were really having a question, and there were no likes. There's hardly any, I guess now that there's a response, but my question to you guys is, was this guy trolling, or do you think he's being real? I think it was the most perfect satirical reply that you could possibly have, but I don't know. I got to get some feedback from you guys. So whenever you guys get a chance, I know we may be a little bit behind, whoever's watching, make sure you tune into the screen and check this one out. And I want to get feedback from you guys. Humble, what do you think that that's satire, or do you think that that's a real question? What are your thoughts?
I mean, it seems like it's a real question. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like it, right? Like, we don't know. So, like, he's just putting it out there. Like, he doesn't know. We don't know. What did you think about it?
Well, I want to hear Phil's perspective.
So he's a 2023 Bitcoiner.
Oh.
Borderline.
So there's a good chance he's actually asking a legitimate question.
Mm-hmm.
Is he 2023, or did he just get onto Twitter in 2023?
Exactly, it's Twitter 2023, right? But in all fairness, right? Like, before I found Bitcoin Twitter, I spent like 6 months, getting scammed on Facebook. So just because, what I'm trying to say is that just because they came to Twitter then, it doesn't mean that they actually knew anything before, even if they were involved. Because I can tell you from my own personal experience.
It's not good
I do less than nothing. So I don't know. I'm thinking it is a legitimate question by him.
I just felt like the wording is so precise and so well thought out. It's like, these are the type of concerns that you would use to counter, why are you leaving your coins on an exchange? And it's like he got those, like, that narrative down completely. And it's like, even the UTXO question, it's like, there's no response to that from a Bitcoin guy who just talks about capital assets and putting in a Bitcoin bank. So I thought that reply was hilarious, and I just had to bring it up. I thought that was like, yes, this is the answer to all our problems. Stop relying on exchanges to tell you how much Bitcoin you have. Run your own node, tie it to your wallet, and practice self-custody, man. It's the only way to actually secure your wealth for the future. We're 3 years after freaking FTX. We haven't figured that out yet.
Oh, exactly.
10 years after Mt. Gox, and I understand Mt. Gox, it's like there weren't, self-custody was hard as hell. It's easier back then to keep it on exchanges, but man, like FTX in 2022, everyone had a wallet back then. There's just no excuses, just degens.
Kevin O'Leary still said that he would support a new iteration of FTX. Like this is,
wrong,
not
Kevin O'Leary.
But it's like, come on, man.
Not so wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. Not so wonderful. But oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you guys ever had an account on Coinbase, but I did. I had like the Coinbase and the Coinbase Pro, and on a weekly basis, I probably get like maybe 2 phone calls and a couple different text messages from Coinbase saying that, there's a login that was blocked, or did you change your password, or did you want to withdraw these funds, or I'm not even active on there. I don't think I actually have anything on there. So it's like these are the things that people will encounter when they're on an exchange and they don't know any better. And when we talk about, especially like the boomer generation, the silent generation, they don't necessarily understand, because this is so new to them, that this is a scam phone call, and they're just going to be rugged. They're going to fall for it, and everything's gone. So this idea of trying to tell people that, it's okay to leave it on an exchange. No, it's not okay. It's actually never actually okay to do this. And while that's a nice step to get people to introduce them, say Cash App, that seems to be a very easy thing. They need to get it off of there, because it's only a matter of time. Now, that being said, I've never received any of these like scam phone calls saying Cash App, somebody did this, whatever. But Coinbase, it's awful. It really is. So I don't know. I don't think we can ever, and I know that you guys know that, but people who are watching, you can never get comfortable just leaving it on an exchange. As easy as it may seem, it's not a good thing to do. And you should never promote this type of, like storing your Bitcoin, your keys, whatever. They're not even your keys. It's not even, who knows? Like, just don't fucking do it. That's essentially what it is. Just don't do it. So I'm like boiling up here. My office is in my attic, and it's just,
I'm so sorry.
You see how red my face is? I need to move my office again. It's awful. Oh my God.
But
anyways, yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I just wanted to go back and just quickly say, so Eastside Tony says that it's an AI question, that other guy there, that the comment, Ulric, that you wanted feedback on. Yeah.
Oh, he thinks it's AI. That we should ask AI.
No. That it was actually an AI question. Either some dude, it was probably a regular dude that made the question. Hey, now they probably phrased this like, hey, how can I phrase this argument to counter them in a perfect like self-custody like sort of way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't be surprised, because it was like so perfect and so like organized. It's like, hello, like, how
can you pull it up again, Phil, so we can see it again and see what we think about that? Because I really want to know.
I gotta reopen it.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on. 1 sec. 1 sec. All right.
And we have to. And after this, we should talk about samurai.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna be looking at that here. Hold on. Let me pull this up.
It will be scarce this year.
That's it. Now the chat's
it is.
Scarce this year.
I'm blushing.
Oh, look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I wanted to, while we're reading this over again, just to go back to Humble's comments about Coinbase, right? So I remember when I first got in the space, I was a total idiot, and I signed up to I don't know how many different exchanges, because for the people who were not here in 2017, in the wonderful ICO, Tony, it's not my fucking birthday. anyways, if you weren't here during that time, okay, the way that it worked was like this. You found out about a shit coin that was going to be on a really crappy little exchange. You signed up to that exchange. Okay. You bought a ton of that shit coin and then you waited. You waited until it got listed on a real shitcoin exchange so that you could finally sell it for like, for 10x, 15x, 20x, whatever it was. So yeah, back then, you'd go signing up to all these exchanges and you'd think to yourself, you'd hear almost and I kid you not, like every week there was another exchange that would rug. Okay. There was exchanges that would just disappear and you'd sit there at like a game of musical chairs and you're like, you know what? They're not calling my number yet, so it's all good.
And you couldn't even put dollars on those exchanges. Like those were straight. You had to take Tether. They wanted your Tether or your Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that's what I remember.
And they charged insane withdrawal fees. So, like, if you made the mistake of transferring Bitcoin to that exchange, you might not be able to transfer it off, like because the fee was so high. So, anyways, yeah, that was those were good times. No, ACP, I did not. That's the other thing. ACP is asking a good question. Did you KYC to those exchanges? Those were the good old days. You did not. All you had to do was provide an email address. It's awesome. I mean, it was terrible. But in terms of but in terms of the Wild West, it was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was awful for the Wild West. I mean, you could hang yourself with the. Let me tell you. Nobody could
Phil, it's definitely your birthday. It's definitely your birthday.
Nobody can make money disappear like me. I could make that disappear like that. I fell for every narrative. Your coin was going to have a phone network. I would buy it. Your coin. Your coin would like be tied to like movie tickets.
I remember that phone network.
It'd be huge, man. What was that called? Like AV Nation or AV Net or something? It was going to be huge.
Dude, all of them were so appealing. All of them. I mean, like, I really thought this whole thing with like NFTs in real estate. Nobody cares. Okay.
I'm listening to you.
That was hilarious.
Oh my God. Dentacoin. I've heard about Dentacoin. I mean, that's the thing. It's like all these problems that were going to be solved. Like, I remember having these conversations with my brother, like about the different projects that he was into. And he's like, no, I don't. Bitcoin is not, it's not going to go anywhere. I just don't think so. I'm more interested in it. Oh God, I don't even know which one it was. It was like a Ripple thing, but it wasn't XRP. Something else.
Was it XLM?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I see the future
around.
in this. Yeah, I know, but it's like I see the future in this, and it's like, and I swear, like, I mean, I did the same thing, right? And I held on to them, but then like I had to get rid of them. And then there were some scragglers, and I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm done. I'm done with everything. And then I would sell it, and then all of a sudden news would come out like the next day, like, oh well, Sandbox is incorporating this into this, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you've got to be freaking kidding me. Like, I almost bought land in Sandbox because I thought that would be the coolest thing, and I spent so much time scoping out to be really close to
helium. That's what I was thinking about.
Oh yeah, helium.
That was the radio. Yeah. I thought that's what you were describing, Phil. Yeah.
What about helium miners? You couldn't get not miners, but helium, whatever. Well, they call them miners.
They like predict the weather or something like that. But you have to buy.
It was a mesh network.
You have to buy $600 units.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah, but you could never get them. They were like out. Like everybody wanted them.
People bought them, and then I know people who bought them, and of course helium is nowhere to be found. Drugged with a useless piece of equipment. It's so stupid.
Another good one was Decentraland. Before we move to Samurai, Decentraland was the virtual land that you're going to buy. And I kid you not, I actually.
But that's what Sandbox was too. It was the same. It was the same thing. Like Decentraland and the same. You could choose between the two.
Yeah, they were competing.
So there you go. So you could have a New York City in both lands.
Exactly.
Right? Both could be owning New York City, and this is kind of the problem, right? It's ridiculous. The virtual land stuff is funny. The virtual land I classify into the same thing as the real world assets and stuff like that, or the AI tokens, right? Because everybody's using a shitcoin to ask Grok questions.
But they became very popular during COVID, interestingly enough, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't go to New York City, but I can pretend I'm there and own a part of it because I can't go because COVID.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man.
And like it was a gimmick for a little while. Hold on, I think what's going on here? At least more honest than shit. Yes, agreed. Meme coins are 100% more honest than the
Peanut the
previous.
squirrel, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Pangu, these Trump coin. These are, hey, we're a joke. Get ready to get rugged. It's essentially a trading simulation. It's like, go
you're
at
having
it.
fun. You're
Yeah.
essentially like, I mean, that's really what it is, right? It's a casino, right? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and that's what you're getting.
The idea that all these coins decided to say, hey, we're going to come up with a narrative because Bitcoin has a narrative. Well, wow, that's a good one. But if we could come up with one, maybe we'll do something about the environment with heat like helium, something about payments, something that people can gravitate to. And then at the end of the day, people are investing in a promise, and that promise had, like you would always call, Phil, vaporware, and there's nothing there but a white paper and a couple of podcasts, and then people just get rugged. And they would get rugged on true hopes and dreams, not, oh great, this is a new stupid coin that I can try to trade on, that I can practice my algorithm trading. Have at it. And they're not trying to, Dogecoin is still not trying to be Bitcoin. Pengu is not trying to be Bitcoin, but the catch is it's the Ethereum, it's the Solanas and the like that are taking people away from the real future of money. But again, like, there are thieves in the temple, I mean, now we accept, the narrative that you don't have to self-custody Bitcoin. You don't need a cold storage device, a signing device. All you need is, hey, you have MicroStrategy and this exchange, and this exchange is regulated by the authorities, and that's all you need. I gotta say that, we stopped working on, the stagnation on medium of exchange. You don't hear too much about that because it goes against the current capital asset narrative. You don't hear about privacy because it goes against the capital asset narrative. There's no privacy needed for when you have Bitcoin in Caitlin Long's bank. So
it's a very good point.
And it's like we're dealing. I mean, we talk about Samurai, Samurai and Tornado Cash, and how they just got blasted in 2023, 2024. But guess what? They got blasted, and it's like, oh, here's Bitcoin now. It's like, this is the real Bitcoin. It's like, no, like, Bitcoin is supposed to be a revolution. Anyways,
very well said, and great transition, man. That was great because that
was good. That was good.
Moon guy brought up Decred, and of course, I have tons to say on Decred, because one really big account was shilling the hell out of that at the end of the last cycle. I'm totally forgetting his name right now. I feel like it was one of the Mamedov brothers. Anyways, he got wrecked, and now he's back shilling all kinds of vapor crap. But yeah, to your point, Ulric, I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand with what we were talking about, right? That the going narratives, the cheerleaders, the MSTRs, the whole 21 and all these companies buying Bitcoin, hooray, right? Like adoption, right? Number go up is all that matters. Well, I thought this tweet was pretty interesting, and I've brought this up now a few times because I do think it's a good point, and I think we'll probably have to talk about this a little bit, but here we go. So 1 effing year, people talk about Sailor. We're not the same. We are not on the same side. At Samurai Wallet has built a wallet for anyone focused on privacy. No IOUs, no number go up, just a commitment to privacy. And in all fairness, right, this individual is not wrong. I think that unfortunately there's a lot to unravel with this. It's not only that it's privacy and self-sovereignty is not the coolest narrative. It's not just that. Unfortunately, not just Samurai, but Wasabi Wallet to a certain extent also kind of did it. They kind of created scenarios that isolated themselves with these really tribal arguments. And I know that sounds totally hypocritical because people call Bitcoiners tribal. So I don't know where the hell I stand on that. But my point is that I guess it's kind of tough to get support from fellow, Bitcoin enjoyers when all sides see you as some type of enemy because of the weird narratives that have been brought up, right? So for the people that don't know, Wasabi and Samurai once upon a time were just one product. They were two guys working together on a single product. I have no idea what the drama was that happened. I tried to understand what the drama was, but essentially these guys parted ways and then somehow became bitter enemies, and so began the drama of Samurai versus Wasabi Wallet. And just keep in mind, right, for the people that are watching that don't know, so they are both privacy implementations. Samurai has Whirlpool, and wait, is it Samurai that has Whirlpool? And Wasabi that has damn it, was it ZK Snacks? Ah, damn it, totally forgetting because I haven't gone into this in so long. But anyways, they had two different mixing implementations, and essentially all that would happen is they'd have battles between each other. One of, Samurai calling Wasabi Wallet, spooks and CIA, Wasabi Wallet calling the other guy's FBI, and back and forth and back and forth. And you're in the middle of this, right? And you're trying to understand whether you're supposed to be using or trying to use these products. And it's like, maybe I don't want to touch either of these products, So is it entirely that the narrative in Bitcoin social circles is changing to just this generic NGU conversation all on its own? Or does this type of drama also have a role, to play in this?
Well, yeah, I don't think that, I think this goes by, Bitcoin has been on such an interesting journey where backwards looking, it looks like, wow, what a great movie. We should just, send this to Hollywood because everything worked out. Bitcoin went from 0 to 100,000. But the catch is, it's like there are bumps in the road. There are U-turns. There are lessons learned. And I think that this one is one of them. And even that tweet, where he said 1 year sailor, it's I feel like it's been more than that, but it's your number go up, I'm Bitcoin, you're Bitcoin, but we're not the same. The catch is that privacy and Inspiring Formulas was saying this, he's like, oh, privacy and fast transactions, that's like a shit coin to me. And I agree, because Monero focuses on privacy but loses when it comes down to the foundations of hard money. How much Monero is out there? You don't know. Fast transactions, fast transaction coin gives up on security, and also is giving up on protocol solidarity. You don't know what the rules are on the protocols for the ones that promise fast transactions, XRP. And of course, all the horrible things about XRP. It's the pre-mine, and every time you buy it, he's printing more of it. But the catch is that Bitcoin solved the hard problem first, which is security and the rules. But just because we have the security and the rules doesn't mean that we stop there, and that its life cycle is 500 years. It's 1,000 years if it's treated right. As long as the internet lasts, Bitcoin should. And so the catch is that it is an evolutionary technology. What else should you do with it, and where should it go? So it's number go up without the idea that it is security, that it is secure, is pointless. But I'll say that privacy without number go up is pointless as well, because I'll tell you this: if all you care about is privacy, and meanwhile they're going to, if the government wanted to, they can print your whatever money you have out of existence. Hyperinflation. Hey, we'll hyperinflate the hell out of you, and we'll just use we'll just restart our money supply, and you're SOL, because you want to care about your privacy. They'll attack you just with money printing. So it's people who say oh, I really don't care, I just want privacy. I'm like, dude, your money, your buying power, why do you even work? Your buying power is going away at 10% every year. And it will increase. You might as well just live off the government. Go be a welfare baby, because it's better than you wasting your time working in negative real terms. So it's we want to establish a world where you are earning in positive real terms, or at least net zero real terms, where you don't have to ever worry about inflation again, where you live in technically a deflationary society as we learn more about the world around us. So long-winded story to say, number go up, privacy, security, all of that is important, and you have to get the right ones first. And I think Bitcoin got the right ones first.
Very well said. And while you were saying that, because you mentioned Monero, it was funny because I read an article this morning that Monero's price like jumped by like 20% or something. Because,
I saw that 22% in a day. It was
right because like
why?
because somebody moved their Bitcoin. Like Zach XBT was for the people who don't know who that is. He's like one of the best online sleuths at figuring out who done it, who hacked what, where did the money go. Anyways, good account to follow. He's a shitcoiner, but good account to follow anyways when it comes to all of these mysteries. But apparently some Bitcoin was stolen and moved into Monero, and of course it's made the Monero price jump. And before people go running off to things like Monero because of privacy, what Ulric was explaining, right? The base layer of Monero is obfuscated, right? So there's no way to actually verify how many Monero are in existence at any given time. So that's number one. Number two, I don't know how many hard forks they've already had. I don't know if it's like 7 or 10 or something like that, but Monero hard forks very often. So again, like I get that it's a very interesting privacy technology. I understand that there's people who tout its use cases. That's totally fine with me. But I do think that you can achieve a similar level of security on Bitcoin by using Lightning, by using VPNs, stuff like that. And I think that it's worth it because the base layer of Bitcoin is not obfuscated. You don't have to worry about hard forks. So just those two things alone, it's like, you know what? I can get like almost as amazing like privacy, but I actually know how much Bitcoin there is. So again, like I think that this goes back to your point, Ulrich. It got the base case right, like the store of value, the transparency.
Yeah, I mean, Humble, do you want to chime in on that one?
You might be muted.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm unmuted now. No, I had to go downstairs for a moment, so I didn't hear everything you guys were saying.
Oh no, it's okay. I mean, generally speaking, like, and I guess to carry on the conversation. I mean, it's just so important to when I look at the privacy people, I just don't know where they're like how they can't feel that they are being impacted by government intrusion, government coercion in more ways than one. And it's not just, the feds coming to bust down your door, but it's like, of course, guess what? If you're a drug dealer, if you're doing things illegal, you probably don't even care about inflation. Hey, I just want to get my stuff through. I just want to get I understand. Hey, didn't see nothing, didn't hear nothing. Okay, I understand. You want your Monero, bro? Like, that's cool. But like for the regular people out here who have, regular careers, who have just regular lives, who want to live on, Main Street, and have a peaceful life. You have your nest egg, you have your kids, where you want to send your kids to public, private school, college, and you can't plan for your future when the money is changing its characteristics, namely its buying power characteristics. But you also can't work out your own incentives if, they come up with a CBDC and they want to track every single thing you do and they turn you into, a state economy slave. Like that kind of stuff is important too. But again, Bitcoin provide, like you said, Phil, maybe you don't need 100% privacy. Maybe you need 60% privacy or 75% privacy, but you need that 100% security and hard protocol. Like that's the kind of stuff that we're looking. Where is the best case for the future of money for regular people? Not for Lutnick, not for Jack Maulers, not for the drug dealer. I'm sorry, but for the regular people who just want to live their life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's, this kind of goes back to the comment actually that BTC Moon Guy just made in here in the chat that I pulled up while you were explaining that, Ulric. Monero's a scam and it's not interesting in any way. And that's exactly, this is exactly what it is, right? Whenever we get sucked into these use cases, right, where there's like one particular thing, right, that somehow needs to take precedence over all other features, like you have to start wondering, like, okay, am I just being grifted out of Bitcoin? And that's genuinely how I feel when I look at stuff like Monero, right? That's genuinely how I feel when I look at stuff like Litecoin or something like that, right? These tokens that really are pure, pure affinity scams on Bitcoin or towards Bitcoin, and it is just absolute nonsense. All right. So I think we're gonna move on to maybe our final is it the all right, the final topic of the evening. Let's see here. All right. Okay, well, we could either do the Bitcoin fee FUD, the supply FUD, or we can dive or wait, no. Hold on. I have something better. That you provided, Ulric. Here we go.
I
Yeah, you don't
forgot. What
even
did
know.
I say?
That's right. You don't
Yeah.
even know.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh,
A Bitcoin master's degree. That's right, folks.
oh, Hesperides? What the
Ah,
fuck?
Listen,
It's
Oh
it's
boy,
so Greek. It sounds so highly regarded.
totally does.
guys, it's a one-time opportunity. You too can
Prestigious.
become a Bitcoin professional. Okay. So look.
I missed
Or,
this. This is
before
funny.
I say anything, what are your thoughts? Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, humble.
Shit all over this, and I'll just wait.
No, okay, I totally missed this. I just want to. This is like the
Yeah.
first time I'm seeing this. This is very funny. That's
Yeah, it was-
wonderful. I mean, this is just. I mean, so when we talked earlier about the philanthropy aspect of it, this is just another form. Like, oh, let's do this because people are going to say that it's really important to learn, and then we can like charge people for learning, and it brings back all sorts of memories. That's
I have a
crazy.
question. I have a question. You see at the bottom here, it says request a call with an academic advisor.
Yeah.
How do they offer a program for something like, I don't get it. Like, was there already a master? Was there already a Bitcoin master who developed the program, and the people who evaluated it, are they Bitcoin masters? What are those?
The guy who's
Yeah.
making all the money off of this
I don't
thing.
get this. Like, who validates all of this? Right?
You know
Like,
what? So it's just a bunch of crap. It's really there are so many people out there that are willing to give you time. Their time, which we understand as Bitcoiners, I think more so than a lot of other people. At least I didn't really understand how important time and energy was until I became a Bitcoiner. Like they will give you their time and they will educate you because they're passionate and they want you to learn and they want you to understand it and they want you to be able to they want you to be able to pass that on. There's a term for it, and I was trying to think of that, like something forward. Something. What is that
pay
term?
it forward?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I came into the space, there was a guy who was he kept on like messaging me. He's like, I have this presentation. I'd like to be able to help you. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is so weird. Like, what do you want from me? You know, because fiat society are just like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? And I mean, we have to be aware of this and obviously this situation, right? You know, but this guy was like, no, I just want you to understand. And like he educated me. And actually I just talked to Terrence about this the other day. Terrence, the one who wrote Proof of Money, not the other Terrence. And
Yeah.
it's like the second we bring up Terrence's every single time. But anyways, so I had brought this up that, you know, I didn't know about the rye stones. You know, I didn't know about this history of money and the value. And by the way, Terrence did do a very awesome, he does these cool videos on his one wheel. It's very cool. And it is about Flintstone money, which is exactly, you know, when you think of rye stones, that's what it is. So, anyways, there are people out there like that, but there's so much information out there aside from that that you can find that's made for you. You know, obviously these podcasts Like you've been doing this for a while, Phil, and then Ulrich, you've been doing it too. Like you don't need to go to some, I mean, how much do they even charge? Like, did anyone like how much is that? You get a master's degree. What are you going to do?
It
I mean, I
doesn't
don't know.
matter. It doesn't
Bitcoin
matter.
master's degree. Well, okay, that's great. So what's the bachelor's degree? So there's a bachelor's degree in Bitcoin out there? Like that?
Yes, in Keynesian
Awesome.
economics.
And who
That's what
developed
it is.
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Like, who's
Yeah.
developing it? Who's validating this stuff?
I don't know. Means there's an associates too, so we should probably like start from the bottom there.
But do we see what they're doing? Is that Bitcoiner? We still are in a world where Bitcoiners say what? We're good.
I was quickly going to say they're creating a regulatory moat. Continue.
Yes, that's that, and not only that, but like not, I keep on using the word highly regarded, but a form of justification for this is the proper way to think about these things. And if we can establish academia as the experts, then all of a sudden they essentially get to create the rules despite what the rules of Bitcoin say. Yeah, well, the rules of Bitcoin says this, but it's wrong. We should really trust the experts, and where the experts where the experts have always been in academia. But of course, academia is showing how weak they are in this period of technological advancement. And again, we're not even forget the fact that they haven't caught on to Bitcoin yet. But think about the fact that they can't teach AI, they can't teach machine learning. They're literally running after all these very, very fast moving technologies that are happening. By the time they pivot, it's already established. The industry's already there. Academia, as it's created, is essentially a government psyop, and they're there to control people, and they're trying their best to say we need to incorporate a narrative how to control how people think about this thing called Bitcoin, because they've lost it, at least for people like us. But guess what? That next generation of Bitcoiners, that class of 2028, it's like, oh my gosh, like Bitcoin, what? Oh, look, this college degree has been here for 4 years. I should probably go learn about how to get Bitcoin. Academia is going to be the derailment of a big generation. Mark my words, next cycle.
I think Roman hit the nail on the head over here. They're going to make it illegal to teach about Bitcoin. This is what happens, right? This is how you centralize knowledge and then control all of the aspects about it, so that everybody thinks about things in one specific way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go ahead, Humble.
No, go ahead, because this is going to take us back a little bit to what you were talking about before. So go ahead, continue with your thought, and then
I was quickly just going to say this reminds me of the Bitcoin historian crap with guys like Pete Rizzo and the BSV creepy guy there. What's his that looks like Bert Muppet? Kurt.
Oh no.
Yeah, Kurt. There's a meme. There's a meme. Somebody made a meme with his face on a Muppet, and so for me, he's just a permanent Muppet. Anyway, no insult to Yellow, of course, but like that's the same type of thing, right? Like these people that are just like self-proclaimed like Bitcoin historians. It's like, why does everybody have to fucking make something like that? Like, why can't you just leave it alone? It's not about you. You want to save bookmarks and remind people about the shit 4 years later what happened? Doesn't make you a historian. Just makes you a guy that fucking collects bookmarks. Like, it's just anyways, sorry, go back to what you were going to go back.
But he reminds us of the bookmarks that we have, maybe, right? So we also have the bookmarks, but we never look at them. It's like taking a screenshot and you're like, oh, I need to save this for later, but then you never actually look at it because you can never find it again. So then you're just like searching for it again to take a screenshot again. So it's like this vicious cycle. What I was going to bring up earlier, so we're talking about the legality of things. So the point was brought up about they're going to make it illegal to speak or educate people on Bitcoin. So what about signing devices, right? I mean, that is something that when all of this started unfolding, like before the ETFs were actually approved, I mean, I just kept on thinking about that. And there are, many people that were thinking about that too. And then there were many people that were part of the camp that were like, they would never do that. They can't do that. How would they do that? Where do you think we're at with that now? Where do you think we're at with that being something that they're going to be like, all right, no, these things are illegal. Can't have them. What do you think?
Ulric, I'll let you go first on this one.
I think that that people's minds are easily molded, and despite the realities of what you can do, that a lot of people will become victims of. They said it, so it must be true. But I'll tell you, there are a lot of use cases where when you make something illegal, all it does is propagate it more. You can talk about the Streisand effect, where he said, "Don't take pictures of my house," and all of a sudden, it's 1,000 pictures of Barbara's house. You could talk about there's a situation where an ingredient in detergent in a district in Florida was made illegal, and allegedly it did whatever it did. People didn't buy into it, and people thought that they wanted it because it made their clothes cleaner, so they went across the border to another county, and they essentially made that ingredient that was illegal in the first county sell out, because guess what? It's like, now that you've made it known that you think about this, we're thinking about it too, and we realize the free market that we wanted. So go ahead and make signing devices illegal. It's gonna all it's gonna do is, oh my gosh, like no one's on Coinbase anymore. Where did it go? Well, it's like there's going to be a bunch of self-custody. That's how I see it. So go ahead and try that. See what happens, Phil.
How could that be practically enforced?
That's why I'm saying
I mean,
that.
it's just such weirdness. But so that kind of brings up the point of self-censorship, right? Like. And I think that kind of touches on a bit of your response, Ulric. Like you just simply have to put the information out there, right? It kind of reminds me of when Bitcoin used to get banned, right? Like every week or every 2 weeks in a different country, so all of a sudden it would get banned and people would just decide it's over, right? And I was definitely one of those people too who would hear that news and I would immediately just assume, well, the news just said it, so it must be true and it must be over. And I kind of think that it is this inherent training that we have. So it's like you don't actually need to tell somebody, or you don't even need to enforce that you're going to do something. You simply just need to let them know that they can't do it. And at that point, the person's like, oh, well, I can't do that anyways.
Well, they can certainly go after the companies that manufacture these devices. Right.
Yeah.
And then there's an underground way of obviously getting these things, I'm sure, that will occur. But at the same time, it's, they'll be able to figure out how to shut these places down.
But so this is the thing, right? So this is a great example. And shout out to Seed Signer, right? Because Seed Signer, you can buy all those parts all yourself on Amazon, separate parts. Nobody knows you're building a hardware wallet. And all of a sudden, a signing device, and all of a sudden you have a signing device. So I don't disagree with you. Like obviously the manufacturers are central points of failure. It always works that way, that the manufacturers are central points of failure. However, I think that we'll just end up seeing a proliferation of a lot more of these do-it-yourself devices. And at this point now, especially if you've never used Seed Signer, I mean, the interface is super easy. Everything is really easy to use. It's so easy to use with Sparrow. Like it's just, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not really worried about
It's unstoppable.
That. Yeah, it is. It really is unstoppable. It's, you know what? It's so unstoppable that the signing device manufacturers don't like them. So, anyways, yeah. All right, guys. I think that's it. I think we're gonna wrap it up. I don't know if you guys have anything that you want to shill. Some last minute thoughts here. We're gonna go around the room. Last minute thoughts. Start off with Humble. Go Humble first, and then Ulric, and then me.
No, honestly, I was just like looking up the Canadian elections because those are going on now, right? So I was thinking, okay, well, we've got cold cards. So what's going on with that? Like if they got shut down, what would happen? And then how would that be like? Because the guy who's like the interim prime minister right now, like, whoo,
Arnie,
that guy, he's a
West
central. yeah, a WEF puppet, central banker to the core, you know, like yikes. So I mean that it will be very interesting if he wins. I would be afraid
Yeah,
if I was in Canada, that's for damn sure.
I can't disagree with you. But if he wins, they're getting what they deserve.
Yeah, well, very true. Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Well, maybe.
Oh yeah. That too.
Anyways,
We don't
yeah.
really know.
No, you don't.
That's a good point.
That's all. That's where my mind's at. And I just want to apologize on behalf of everyone for well, it was me. It was my fault because my cat likes to chew on my microphone cord, and apparently it finally did it in. So I did an update. Thought maybe it was the update, and definitely my Rodecaster didn't need the update. It's my cord that got chewed up by my cat. So even the little, just there's not wires showing through, but the pressure from his teeth. So anyways, yeah, I'm sorry. We're a little bit late. It is my fault. It's not because I'm a woman. It's because of my cat. I'm a woman that has a cat.
Hey, we're not in spaces. It's okay.
Yeah. So I throw that out there. Catwoman. It's my fault. All right. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and again, make sure you watch. The videos that we have coming out. I think my next video will be talking about the conference and the use case for all different types of Bitcoiners. Is the conference worth your time as a pleb, as a salesman, as a shiller, as an influencer, as a politician? Why do we go to conferences? I appreciate all the guys who support the Pleb Underground. Make sure you like and retweet these episodes so you can help the algorithm help us find the other people who need this message. Thank you very much.
Damn, that was so smooth. I don't think I'm going to be that smooth. Yeah. So anyways, guys, right? Don't forget. So this is going to be, I'm going to upload this. It's going to be on our audio only platforms, right? Apple Podcasts, and we are on Spotify. And if you want to stream us sats, check us out on fountain.fm. Guys, this is going to do it for this month's live episode of Pleb Underground. Don't forget to smash the likes. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us for this awesome episode. We couldn't even finish all of our topics. That's right. But as you could imagine, I'm sure next month will be just as spicy, if not spicier. Thank you guys again. Take it easy.